How did you find this idea?
Okay, you got a good product, but if you don't have a good website and good marketing, then it won't come together. The more you can work on your skills, the more successful you're gonna be with e-commerce. So Shark Tank reached out to us. You know, they make 50 grand and they buy a BMW. I'm like, what are you doing? A lot of people sell their dropshipping store when it's dead, when it dies out. You should look to sell when you're at your happiest point.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
How's it going, everybody? In today's video, I'm gonna be asking Sam Jacobs here, my friend from New York, some questions about his journey in entrepreneurship, e-commerce. We've actually done an interview before on my channel, but this time we have a little bit of a case study that he's done that I think will shed a lot of insights into what it takes to scale a store these days and, you know, just how he's been able to do it over and over again. This will be a really valuable video. So without further ado, man, let's just jump right into it. So there's the store you started and you've done nearly $250,000, or actually over $250,000 in the last like 90 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about it. So let me know, for example, first things first, what is the platform here that you're using to drive this much traffic and sales? And yeah, let's just start there.
Sure. So as you can see on the screen, we started in May, right? End of May, so around June, and it's July 27. So less than 2 months, around 60 days from 0 to 278,000 in sales. Our profit margin is about 25% on the store, so really awesome.
That's great.
And it's also a niche store. So we started as a one product store, meaning we just sold one product on the store, and then we added other products to the website to raise the average order value, which really helped us a lot. And then we've been using TikTok ads to answer your question. 90% TikTok ads, and recently we started to use Facebook and Google. Google has been really good because a lot of people are searching stuff on Google,
Right.
and like a lot of competitors are trying to steal our traffic. So we've been paying as a search result to be number one, and that's been getting us like a 10x ROAS. So yeah, it's been awesome.
That's a great thing to mention there, especially for a lot of people that drive a lot of traffic from TikTok. That sometimes doesn't convert the best right away. Like you get a lot cheaper traffic. So recapturing some of that traffic through Google Ads is actually a super good idea. That's actually really easy to implement as well. People don't really know that. So that's a really good insight. Now, you mentioned about upsells and getting your average order value up. It says there like 60% in the last whatever days. So that's a pretty significant average order value increase. What has contributed to that? Like, what would you say you've done to do that?
So yeah, like exactly what you said, we raised our AOV by 60%. It used to be like $30 average order value, even less, because our product we're selling is $29.99, but we're getting a $47 average order value, which has allowed us to outcompete our customers, our competition. So what we did was we said that we're giving away free shipping if people spend over $50 on our website, which is like a huge bonus. Like people want to spend over $50. And then we also added a ton of other products to our website and related products to the main seller. So that really helped us a lot.
Nice. And then when it comes to adding new products, like, is this how are you fulfilling stuff? Do you have a 3PL set up and then you just have them test new products, or how does that work?
So currently we use Commercive for all our fulfillment. It's a company that I'm a part of. And because of that, we're able to have like 200-300 products on our website. And, you know, obviously most of these suppliers would never allow that, but since we are scaling at such a high level, we're getting tons of orders of like we've got $500 orders before, which has been insane. And actually I'll show people, like if they go to orders, obviously we're going to block out these, the names over here. So you can see we've got $568 order, 435, 351, 302, 236, like very, like a lot of items some people are buying.
Right.
And because of that, that's like where most of our profit comes from these massive orders. And it's like so underrated. A lot of people are doing one product stores, which is great. But if you don't have like other products to get your profit up, then you're really no different than every other dropshipper out there, and it's harder to compete. So taking your customer to getting them to either do bundles on your website, you can say buy two and get, you know, 20% off or $10 off if you buy two of them. It gets your customers to kind of buy more on your website. So we've been doing that with other products.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
Now, what are your plans, I guess, or actually let me even go further back to the beginning of it, because I think that's the most relevant, right? For a lot of people that are just getting started. They don't know how to build that momentum that you built.
Yeah.
How did you find this idea? How did you launch it? And like, where did it even come from?
Sure. So what we do for product research is we go out there and find stores that are already doing well. And then it gives us an idea of like what industries are working right now. And either we just take the product that's working out in the market and we rip it for ourselves, or, and that's what we did in this situation. We used spy tools and we basically saw another store that was selling this product. So we just made the product page a lot better, improved on it, launched TikTok with about 10 creatives, ripped creatives from other stores, which is crazy. We kind of put them together to make really good ads. And then we launched it. And after a few days, we saw the return was amazing. We put like $100 into ads and we got $300-$400 back. Right away, we're like, okay, we got something working here. So we really built out the store, added more products. And then from there, we just started to scale super hard because the metrics were in place.
So generally, would you say that when you've had something like this before, it generally shows results like right off the bat and that's how you know? Or do you usually have to fix things up and like, you know, maybe like really try to make it work? How would you approach that? Would you go that route where you try your hardest to make it work, or you just kind of move on to the next thing?
I have a $100 rule. That is my rule. Of like, we spend $100 on ads, and if we don't get a sale within $100, then we cut it. If we spend $100 and get $100 back, then we can work with it. We're break even, you know? But if we get 100 and if we spend 100 to get 300 back, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 back, that's a winner. That's an ultra winner. So I think like winner products, they come in different tiers, like a gold, silver, and bronze. A gold level is you spend 100 and you get 300-400 back, like within the first 2 days, 48 hours, like boom, like, yo, this is crazy. A silver is like you spend 100 and you get, you know, maybe 200 back, or 100 and something dollars back, right? You're a little bit profitable. And a bronze is a break even. So if you get a break even or you get a few sales, you can still work with it by optimizing that, improving on your website. And if you do that, then you have potential of turning that product into something very big. A garbage product for me is that I spent $100 and I don't get a single sale, then something's wrong. By spending more money, you're not really going to, you know, make the big difference.
Right. So have you had instances where you thought something was going to perform like 100%? You're like, this is for sure going to be one of those like 4 or 5x winners, and it was a complete flop?
Of course. I think it happens to everyone's journey. When I first started, I tested 8 products to find my first winner. But that's because I thought I was able to do it alone. I didn't have a mentor, a coach, or anyone to follow. I kind of just like built my Shopify store. And I think everyone's been there, where they just launched a stupid product on a garbage looking website that it looks like a 14-year-old dropshipper made. So that was me. And then I started to realize that like I needed the help. And really, I remember when we first met, that was after I started to get my initial success like 4 or 5 years ago. And even till today, I still test products. I don't hit every single one as a winner, but I definitely now, maybe 1 out of 2 products that I test, crush it, which is amazing. But it's because I built my skills. I learned how to make a really good looking website, high converting website, meaning with a good offer, and then good products, good creatives. You got everything, those 3 things, like product, website, marketing. If you get those 3 things down pat, then everything comes together and it's going to work, you know? So it's not always about just spam testing products. It's about learning from your tests and seeing how you can improve every single time. It's cool. Yesterday, I was working out with my trainer, and some older guy comes in the door, and he started teaching us how to work out. He's like, you know what upsets me? He's like, all these people, they're all these bodybuilders, but they can't even run around the block, right? He's like, you got to be like a ninja. You got to really be able to learn different techniques.
Be balanced.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so crazy, because in business, right, you got to really learn all aspects and not just, like how to find a winner product. Okay, you got a good product, but if you don't have a good website and good marketing, then it won't come together. But if you know how to do all 3 things, then you really are the ninja, the e-commerce ninja, where everything, like every product you launch, it turns into gold. You know, they say like those people who touch things and it just turns into gold.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the people that understand website product marketing, because they know exactly how to acquire customers and convert them. Right? And to follow up on that, this guy tells me, guess how old I am? And we're like, nah, he's not older than 50 years old. He's like, I'm 70 years old. The guy looked not a day.
Trainer?
Yeah, the trainer. 7 years old training people. And he's like, I've never lost a battle, because he's a fighter. And he's like, well, I'm like, what does that mean? You never lost a battle? Everyone loses, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I either won or I learned from that fight, right? So it's the same thing with product tests. If you're going out there and you're failing, that's great, because you're failing forward. As long as you learn something from that product test and you get advice from mentors, coaches, and say, hey, what do you think about my website? Where did I go wrong? I did something wrong, because if you did everything right, it would work. Right. So you obviously need improvement. And the more you can work on your skills, the more successful you're going to be with e-commerce.
That makes total sense. I mean, I think a lot of people lack the knowledge to just like keep moving forward. I think a lot of people believe that it's an overnight success thing with businesses in general. And I think a lot more, even like, for example, venture-backed businesses could learn from that scrappiness of like just testing something, moving on, not getting super emotionally attached to everything. I think a lot of people tend to do that and lose out on a lot of money. It's happened to me plenty of times. I've tried to create something and I thought it was a great idea. I've been emotionally attached to it and spent too much money to try to make it work. But then I've also had instances where it's like the opposite. It's something that I'm not even fully confident in.
And it works.
And it works so well. And I'm like, wow, maybe I should have just, trusted the data as opposed to try to make intuitive decisions when it comes to business too much.
I love that. That's good. And it's also, don't get attached to product for too long. If something doesn't work, the numbers will show. And I always say that. It's like, you spent $100 on ads, you didn't get a sale. I don't care how good you think the product is. The market is not reacting to it the right way. So it's not you who's going to be buying the products. It's going to be the people out there who's going to be buying the products. So put yourself in your customer's shoes. And if they're not liking the product, then you're doing something wrong, which is totally okay. Instead of trying to tweak things and figure it out, sometimes it's okay to move forward into another product. It gives you a refresh. And
I agree.
Keep your costs low.
So here's another subject I want to talk about with you, since you have some relevant experience. I think this could be helpful for my audience and anybody that does have some e-commerce stores. You've been able to sell some of your brands before. You've gotten exits for some of them, even just dropshipping stores. What does that process look like? And what do you recommend for people, like if somebody wants to sell their business, maybe like a piece of advice to maybe get more money for it?
I love that. So I sold 4 of my stores in the last year. One of them was Cloudy Sharks. It was over 6 figures. We sold the company for. If you guys seen the shark slides all over TikTok, went crazy. And we were able to sell that because I knew the right people. Your network is your net worth. People say that all the time. So sometimes it's like going to these high level events, shaking hands, meeting people, getting people's phone numbers. They need to know what you do. That's why like personal branding is awesome. But also you can use Fleetba.com to sell your website. There's also a lot of people that sell their websites on there. So if you want to sell your website, then go to Fleetba and see which stores sold. And then you can learn from their stores. Because if they sold for 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, see what they did that would allow them to sell. And many times you'll see the website is super branded. It looks like a brand. Many times it is a brand. For us, we were all dropshipping, right? And we still were able to sell it. A lot of people have that misconception of, oh, dropshipping stores you can't sell. That's not true. You can sell them. There's a buyer for everything. You just got to know people. Also, you can't really sell a store that's less than 6 months old.
Oh, really?
It's a little hard to. Your valuation is not going to be that great. And the more steady you can keep your sales, the better, because investors are going to see like, why is it dipping up and down, right? So you want to keep it as consistent as possible. Sometimes it's unavoidable when you have payment bans, like Shopify payments banning you, or Stripe or whatever. Just try to avoid all issues, as you go on, and be omni-channel. Facebook, TikTok, Google. Try to have different platforms.
That helps. Exits.
Yeah, because then even if one of the platforms goes down, or if you're too heavily reliant on one platform, then it's gonna, like, if anything happens, if your cost per purchase goes up on that ad account, you gotta make sure that you're in there perfecting it. So definitely that. And then if you get your return rate on your customers, by the way, cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers.
If you get your return rate on your customers coming back to buy from your store, that's huge. Email lists are awesome. Just overall, like, you got to imagine yourself as an investor. What do you buy at the store? What are you going to be looking for? And many times it's just like a healthy numbers on the books. And yeah,
And that's all you need.
That's all you
need. And then just a buyer.
Yeah. A lot of people sell their dropshipping store when it's dead, when it dies out.
Right.
You should look to sell when you're at your happiest point, when you're super excited.
Yeah.
Scaling. That's when you should look to sell.
Well, so what would you say about maybe someone that wants to turn something into a brand though? Like how would you decide whether or not to continue to pursue it? Would it be based on the numbers or what?
Yeah. Look, it depends how much experience you have.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in your first or second or third year of e-commerce, then even if you think like, oh, this is going to last forever, you don't really know much. So don't think you know it all. Sometimes products come in trends and you have really good cost per purchase on these platforms and it starts to rise eventually because other competitors come on it. Now, in the case you have a patent on a product or it's your product that you created, then you don't have to sell right away.
Right.
Just leave it because you know that you're not going to have ever competition. So it's fine. But today with dropshipping, anyone can take your creatives, anyone can blow you out of the water really quickly. So that's why I've sold my brands and I had, I told myself, okay, it's time to move on. Let these investors take it to the next level. If they want, put on a patent on the product, they have the connections that I may not have. So by all means, let them enjoy it.
That makes a lot of sense. Have you ever thought about, because something I'm thinking a lot about is buying potential companies. I think that would be really special to find products that are amazing, but don't have the right marketing behind them and use my systems to improve it. Similar to like what you're saying about investors doing that. But for me, it would be mostly like using my skills as opposed to a ton of capital. So if anybody out there wants to partner up on something, a joint venture, perhaps, if you have a great product, hit me up. But what would you say? So what would be something you would want to pursue? Is there anything, or are you always going to be looking towards like starting a business and exiting, starting and exiting?
Right. I think in the future, I do want to acquire companies because at this point, I'm not testing a lot anymore. I'm either being brought stores that are at a few $100s a day and want to be scaled up. For example, one of my students, he came to me, he's like, yo, Sam, I'm doing $300 a day with my store. I'm getting an amazing ROAS, return on my ad spend. In 1 month, no kidding, and I have a case study on my YouTube channel. 1 month, I took the store from $300 a day to $30,000 a day. And we end up selling that store as well later on.
Really?
Yeah. And because the numbers were in place, right? So for me right now, absolutely, I'm looking to get involved in stores that already have the structure in place so I can help them scale, or businesses that have a good product, like you said, that don't have the right marketing that I think I can provide value into, or even boring businesses or businesses that have a really good product. For example, I was looking to it the other day, those trampoline places. It's like trampoline parks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, in my neighborhood, there's just like nothing to do. If someone's bored on a Sunday, nothing to do.
And I'm like, a lot of kids.
A ton of kids. And I'm like, this would do crazy here. So franchises and something like that, where I can build a business that I know can be here for the next 20, 30 years. And that's because I understand how to acquire customers.
Right.
If you understand how to acquire customers, then you can do that in a brick and mortar business. You can do that in an e-commerce business. You can do that in a business that maybe even invent a product. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
So I thought about inventing a product that's very doable. I was actually with Cloudy Sharks. We were about to go on Shark Tank.
Really?
Yeah.
Cloudy Sharks on Shark Tank.
That was, we were this close, and maybe we could pop up a video of like us doing our pitch to the producers. And we got through the first round, second round, and like the third round we got cut off, or I guess the second round, third round.
Is that how it works? It's like multiple rounds? I have no idea what it's in.
So Shark Tank, we'll talk about that. Should we talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
what
cool.
Does it entail?
So Shark Tank reached out to us. They messaged one of the ladies that works there as a producer, and she's like, hey, would you like to apply for Shark Tank? And we want to have you on. So they gave us like a questionnaire. The thing was like 10 pages long. No kidding. It took us hours to fill out. And then we sent it in. We also had to record a video pitch for the producers, a little bit about our product, who we are, how much we would need to invest, what percentage we'll give up, and all of that. And we sent it all in, and we got accepted to the next round. And what they do is they dequalify people. So like if someone doesn't get accepted the next round, they're out, right?
Yeah.
So we got almost into Shark Tank until they told us like, sorry, it's not the right fit. And we know why. It's because we were dropshipping. We didn't have a patent on the product. So if we ever reapply again, we end up selling that store that month anyway. So it was a blessing in disguise. If we would have got accepted, we wouldn't be able to sell the store. Who knows where it would be today? But yeah, we ended up just not going on. That was a really cool experience to like apply for it. But it's actually not that hard to get on if someone has a really good product that's patented, that like that's their own product and not dropship. Right. They can apply by reaching out to the producers over on Instagram. They literally message me on Instagram, and you can find yourself on Shark Tank.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I had no idea it was simple like that.
Yeah, very simple.
I mean, there's a lot of stages, it sounds like, but
yeah,
ultimately it's a pretty simple process.
Exactly. One of my friends, he owns Swimply. Swimply's Airbnb for pools.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that was the thing. So you can rent out your pool for like a day?
Yeah. He came on Shark Tank before COVID and they declined him. But now his company's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's pretty crazy how anyone watching this can do some great things. Like once you learn e-commerce, you can create like we were talking about this. You can create any software, you can create any type of company, any service. It's just a physical product versus a service. And
right. But the marketing skills apply like across the board.
Across the board.
Yeah, that's why I think you made a good point at the beginning or something along those lines about skills and how that's what really is important, is that you're learning and failing forward.
Right.
And improving your skills. I think that's a really good point for people to understand. So what are some of the skills that you think as a beginner in business are really valuable to learn, in your opinion?
I think learning how to utilize paid ads is big.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn how to run ads, TikTok, Facebook, choose one platform and focus on it. If you learn how to do that and you learn how to convert that traffic, right? Traffic and conversion. If you know how to take that traffic from paid ads over to a website and convert them for a product, you will be set for life. And a lot of people underrate how powerful that is. You learn that and you have an asset that you can use in any company, any product, any service. And that's what me and you did, right? Mm-hmm. 5 years ago when we started, well, 6 years now, we went all in. And I'm sure you had a mentor, right? You had coaches, mentors. Still do. And I paid my mentor $1,000 an hour, and I don't care. I'm like, take my money, because for me, we're young, and people are like, how did you do it at such a young age? And I'm like, I paid for information that I did not have. Instead of me trying to figure it out with trial and error, I just went to someone who had the information I had, and I paid him for his time. A lot of young guys, especially young people, they spend their money on the wrong things. They spend it on super, they make 50 grand and they buy a BMW. I'm like, what are you doing? Like invest some of that into yourself. So you can take that 50 grand and make it a 500 grand, right? With a real business. But a lot of people are short-term thinkers and very small thinkers. So unfortunately, that happens a lot. But 10% of the money you make should go back into yourself. And if you're not making any money, then put 100% of the money you have back into yourself. Of course, leave some money for ads and into your business. But really important that if you don't know the right strategies, the money that you're putting into ads, they're not going anywhere because you don't know the right strategies.
Right.
So for me, the mentors really, really helped me speed up the process and allowed me to learn these skills.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think learning from other people is like one of the smartest things you can do, because you're learning from their mistakes. Sometimes you don't need to make every mistake in order to actually learn. You can learn from other people's mistakes. That's probably the smartest thing you can do. Obviously, a lot of things come with experience. Experience is the best teacher, but you can do both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So even, till this day, I remember, for me as well, like in the beginning, I had some mentors in e-com showing me how to run ads, showing me like how to scale basically. And that transitioned into me looking for more people that had skills that I wanted. Now I'm starting to look at people for example, trying to get mentored by people that buy businesses that, build big holding companies and, just have like the lifestyle that I like. So yeah, just continuously looking for people that have achieved what you want to do, or at least they have skills that you want or that you think could be valuable. Paying them to teach you is kind of a no-brainer. I definitely agree. Like the return on investment on that is
huge.
Probably some of the best that you're going to get anywhere.
Dude, that's so good. And for me, I did this in the gym also. I remember like 4 years ago how like scrawny I was. Like,
yeah, like, oh, you're big now.
I mean, I still know where I want to be, but I definitely gained some muscle. But besides the fact, I went to the gym and I was like this small dude, and I'm like, I don't know how to work out. I literally went to the biggest guy in the gym, and I'm like, "Do you do personal training?" I thought he was gonna squash me, bro. He's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
I'm like, man. So yeah, and I ended up paying him. I ended up making him my personal trainer. Whatever he charged, I paid for it. And it's the same thing in business and in life.
That's nice.
But since a young age, I was very I analyzed a lot of people, and I looked at people all the time, and I was like, what are they doing that I can learn from? So that was a big factor for me.
All right. Well, that covers a lot. I think this will certainly be valuable to a lot of people. I think it's also important just to note, this is just something I think about when I do these interviews, is that there's still so many people out there that are just incredible entrepreneurs. And like, I want people to know, like, you and I are, especially now that I meet you in real life, it's like, we're normal people, right? Like, we're still just trying to learn. And you're mentioning, for example, how 5 years ago is like totally different, but I still feel like you and I, like, in essence, are like the same. It's just time and compound interest is like starting to catch up on like the skills.
Yeah.
So I could see how just like through being consistent, 5 years from now, like the progress will be even crazier, more exponential. But it's not that we're particularly different, besides the fact that maybe we're just dedicated and consistent, but it's really just that consistency. So I just want people out there to know that that's really the secret. I mean, there's no secret besides the fact that if you're just putting in, consistent work, you're going to make it somewhere.
I love that. It's crazy. It's crazy because a lot of people see us now, right? But it's funny, if they would have saw us 5 years ago, how they would be like, like there's just, like they're working on their goals, their dreams. But the difference is we did not stop, and we were consistent day over day over day, and we just worked on our skills and got better. And with e-commerce and business in general, it's like you kind of like are stagnant for a little bit, and it took me like 6 months to find its success with e-commerce, and then boom, it kind of takes off like a rocket. And I remember when I started with a YouTube video just like that, of someone making money online. I'm like, how are they doing it? And I just learned everything I could about making money online. And you never know. Like, I hope this video inspires people to really do big things and never quit. Never quit. No matter how hard it is, it gives you an opportunity to separate yourself from everyone else, right? It's like you have something hard on your plate right now. Are you going to keep going, or are you going to let that push you back? And you never know what you could have become if you quit. So that's the scariest thing, because there's two types of people: one person that quits, one person that keeps on going. And at least the person who keeps on going has that chance of making it. Person who quits, zero chance of ever making it in that industry.
That's a good framework, like, for thinking about that. Like, even if you fail for the next 20 years, you're still going to have a chance to make it.
Yeah.
Versus the person that just quit.
I don't see, like, if someone works let's say, so I have a 6-month rule, 6 months on a certain business, works his butt off, you will see massive progress no matter what. And if you didn't, then you're doing the wrong things. Yeah. You don't have the right information, and you're trying to do it on your own. But yeah, 6-month rule, no matter what business you're in, you want to get into something, focus for 6 months, put in the work, and then look back at your journal and see how much you've grown over the last 6 months. It's really exponential.
Awesome. Well, I think this was incredible. Appreciate you doing this. And
where's your coffee? Right. Gotta finish off. Cheers.
Cheers again.
Arie, thank you for coming down to New York. Guys,
thanks for hosting me. This has been really great.
We went for breakfast, having a good time. Maybe we got some work in. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, bro. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.